episode 81, Agile Risk, Backlogs, Sprints, and Reviews, we explore how risk management evolves in Agile environments. Traditional frameworks emphasize documentation, gates, and long planning cycles. Agile replaces those with iteration, collaboration, and constant adaptation. Yet uncertainty still exists, it simply moves faster. In Agile teams, risk management becomes part of the daily rhythm rather than a separate process. Every backlog refinement, sprint planning, and review embeds micro-decisions that shape exposure. When done well, agility does not weaken control. It transforms it into a continuous practice of learning, adjustment, and shared accountability. The product vision anchors risk context. Without a clear vision, teams cannot judge which uncertainties matter most. The vision defines value, priorities, and acceptable trade-offs. It helps teams distinguish between experiments worth attempting and deviations that threaten purpose. A strong vision aligns every sprint decision with long-term intent, ensuring that short-term changes do not drift from strategic goals. By grounding uncertainty in purpose, Agile teams avoid chaos disguised as flexibility. The vision acts as the North Star, guiding how much risk to accept, when to pivot, and what outcomes justify adaptation. Every backlog item carries embedded uncertainty. User stories, features, and epics each include assumptions about feasibility, complexity, and value. These assumptions are the seeds of risk. A story that looks small but hides dependency or integration pain may introduce hidden exposure. Risk-aware backlog refinement means asking what could go wrong and how will we know early. Capturing risk notes within backlog tools ensures transparency. Treating each backlog item as a micro-risk container transforms planning from estimation into anticipation-building awareness before work begins, rather than discovering uncertainty mid-sprint. The definition of ready should include risk considerations. A story is ready not just when it is clear and sized, but when its uncertainties are acknowledged. Questions like, what dependencies exist, or what information do we still lack, belong beside acceptance criteria. This forces risk visibility before commitment. Teams that ignore readiness often spend sprints firefighting unknowns. Incorporating risk into readiness ensures that commitments are informed, that mitigations are in place, and that time is allocated for research or testing. Ready means not only feasible but foreseeable, known enough to execute with control. Sprint planning brings near-term exposures to the surface. Teams review the upcoming backlog and identify which items carry the most uncertainty or potential disruption. This is the right time to schedule mitigations, reserving capacity for investigation, prototyping, or dependency resolution. Sprint planning thus doubles as a short-term risk review, balancing ambition with realism. When risk is discussed openly at this stage, teams can plan confidently instead of overcommitting. This rhythm, identify, plan, act, learn, turns every sprint into a managed experiment, ensuring that uncertainty fuels progress rather than undermines it. Daily stand-ups serve as risk triggers in motion. Each person's update, what was done, what's next, and what's blocked, offers early detection of emerging issues. Stand-ups are less about reporting and more about listening for friction. Repeated blockers, unexpected defects, or schedule slips signal risk manifestation. The team's discipline is to surface these quickly without blame and decide whether to act immediately or log a follow-up. When stand-ups function as micro-monitoring sessions, they replace formal reports with continuous awareness, catching drift in real time rather than through delayed status dashboards. Swarming on emerging risks reflects Agile's collaborative strength. When a blocker or exposure appears, the team rallies around it instead of isolating ownership. Developers, testers, and product owners combine insight to diagnose and resolve. Swarming ensures that risks are contained quickly, preventing small uncertainties from metastasizing into sprint derailers. This behavior reinforces collective ownership, a team mindset that values resolution over hierarchy. Swarming demonstrates that in Agile, control is not top-down but shared horizontally, built on transparency and action rather than escalation and delay. Spikes represent deliberate efforts to reduce uncertainty. A spike is a time-boxed investigation used to answer unknowns before committing to large-scale work. Spikes transform guesswork into knowledge. They may involve testing a new API, researching integration feasibility, or evaluating performance limits. By scheduling spikes intentionally, teams manage uncertainty proactively rather than reactively. Spikes embody the scientific method within Agile delivery: hypothesis, experiment, observation, conclusion. They provide data-driven confidence for future sprints and ensure that exploration occurs safely within defined time and scope. Sprint reviews focus on evidence over opinion. Each review examines outcomes against objectives: what was delivered, how it performs, and what was learned. This event is not only a showcase, but a checkpoint of factual feedback. Real demonstrations, user tests, and metrics replace assumptions. Reviewing with stakeholders exposes misalignments early, reducing strategic risk. Transparency builds trust. Visibility of progress and problems alike ensures shared ownership. Sprint reviews shift the conversation from prediction to proof, ensuring that learning becomes the currency of Agile risk management. Retrospectives address process risk, the patterns that quietly create exposure. Missed handoffs, unclear stories, or recurring bugs often point to systemic weakness. Retrospectives allow teams to analyze these process-level signals and design countermeasures. They turn reflection into prevention. By creating small, measurable improvement experiments each iteration, teams build resilience. The retrospective closes the feedback loop, ensuring that quality, predictability, and morale improve together. In Agile, the system itself evolves continuously, and each lesson learned becomes a shield against future uncertainty. Flow metrics act as early indicators of trouble. Lead time, cycle time, work-in-progress limits, and defect trends quantify how smoothly value moves through the system. Deviations signal bottlenecks or overload. Monitoring flow helps detect risk before it affects delivery dates or quality. A spike in unresolved items or a dip in velocity may reveal dependency friction or scope creep. Flow visualization via cumulative charts or Kanban boards makes risk visible as pattern, not surprise. Data-driven flow management keeps agility disciplined, blending intuition with measurement for balanced control. Risk sharing with product owners strengthens decision alignment. Product owners balance business value against exposure. When they understand technical and delivery risks clearly, prioritization becomes smarter. Shared risk discussions prevent unrealistic expectations and foster mutual accountability. The product owner decides what risk is worth taking. The team decides how to manage it. This collaboration ensures the trade-offs, speed versus safety, scope versus stability, are explicit. Shared ownership transforms risk from a burden carried by developers to a collective choice supported by business rationale. Agile documentation remains intentionally light, but conversation remains constant. Lightweight risk artifacts, a simple register, visible board, or digital tags replace bulky reports. Frequent dialogue keeps awareness fresh. Short notes about mitigations or lessons suffice if paired with regular discussion. Agility values context over formality. What matters is not the quantity of documentation, but the continuity of communication. Risk management becomes a living dialogue embedded in rituals rather than a static appendix. These short, frequent interactions sustain responsiveness while keeping bureaucracy at bay. Agility enables rapid learning, the ultimate antidote to risk. Iteration, transparency, and collaboration turn uncertainty into momentum. In every sprint, teams experiment, observe, and adjust, shrinking the unknown through action. Risk management in Agile environments is therefore not an extra process, but the heartbeat of adaptability. When teams learn quickly, they fail safely, recover gracefully, and improve continuously. The result is not risk elimination, but risk fluency, the ability to navigate change confidently and deliver value in dynamic, unpredictable conditions where resilience is the true measure of success. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.